So just get still in your body, get comfortable in your chair where you're sitting. Welcome to those who are joining us on Facebook Live. If you're watching this and are going to meditate with us, just get comfortable, and wherever you're sitting, just rest. Feel your body supported, fully supported in this now moment. One of the meditation teachers I've had over the years says we feel the presence in our bodies, in our soul that lives in our body. So take just a moment to realize you have a body. You're choosing to keep it still and just be. Just be for a few moments. Feel the weight of your body in your chair, fully supported, your head erect and yet relaxed. Feet on the floor, grounded to the earth through the floor. And now, as we usually do, to go deeper into the meditation for just a moment, we focus on the breath. Let your breath take you deeper. So take a deep breath in. Hold it at the top and then just slowly, slowly release. And let your body settle in. One more deep breath in. And then release and settle. And as with the Unity singer is just saying, there is stillness and peace in this moment. So breathe in stillness and breathe out peace. Breathe in quietness and breathe out love. Hold your awareness and your intention on your breath for just a few moments, just a couple of moments. We rest and breathe into this space of inner knowing, this intuitive knowing of who we have come here to be. Just be. As you continue to focus on your breath, just let it flow normally. Turn your awareness to your body, and if there's any place where you need to breathe into to release any anxiety or tension, that's what we're here to do when we go into meditation for just a moment. Just be aware of your body and just release it. Release your shoulders, your face, your hands. Feel your hands supported in your lap or your thighs, and just be aware of that for a moment. As you breathe, consciously breathe. Move your awareness down your body to see if there's any place that needs release. Continue to return your attention to your breath. If you find you're drifting off with a thought or awareness even in your body, it just means you're not focused on the breath, and just return back to it. Return to the breath. And as we have calmed the body and stilled the body, we now quiet the mind. Not trying to control it, not trying to stop the thoughts. We're just trying to be and let them float by. We don't have to attach to a thought in this moment. We can do that later if you wish, but we don't have to do it right now. And it's a good time to get centered into the space, the ambience around us, the temperature, the sounds, and just breathe and continue to focus on your breath. So today we're focused on divine presence. We know it by many names. It's who we have come here to be, or it's, matter of fact, who we've forgotten who we are. We're going to return to that for a few moments. And for a few Sundays, we'll focus on this presence that lives and moves and has being in us. And partly because of the chaos of the outer world, we may forget who we are. So we return to the breath through meditation practice to be and to remember and to stay awake. Be present to feel the presence. Be present to feel the presence. Let's do that for just a few moments in the silence. Continue to return to your breath as we hold these sacred moments of presence in the silence. So hold this sacred space for just another moment as you breathe deeply. Return to your breath and just feel this peace. Sense this peace that you find when you go within to the source of your being. For we affirm that we are surrounded by peace, enmeshed in peace. Enmeshed in peace. Peace, quiet, calm, undisturbed peace. Nothing but peace. breathe that into every cell and every organ and every essence of your being right now. For this is the peace. This is the source of the peace that you take to the world outside of this place. Be the peace that you wish to see in the world. Now gently, ever so gently, you begin to move your body. Wiggle your fingers and toes. And as you come out of meditation, it's always just a little crack of a smile on your mouth, just a little smile. And then when you're ready, you can open your outer eyes and be fully present in the room. And hold your hand over your eyes for a minute. Ta-da. It's good to change your meditation practice up a little bit, so that's what I thought I would spring on you today. So we have a new meditator with us today. Did you notice? Did you notice it in your... Yeah. Nova Ray Tanner is with us today. How old is she? 1 month old. And she's already in a group meditation, so... So that's fantastic. Thank y'all for being here, and thanks for sharing her with us today. Yeah, it's awesome. You know, I say my wife is the one watching this. Have you heard the show on PBS? It ran for years on PBS. We didn't watch it, but she is plugged into this Call the Midwife. It's a show on the midwife. So when I saw Nova this morning, I thought, my wife just said it to me last night. So this is what she's doing. I'm not doing it. I just kind of watch a little bit. You know, that's not true. I'm watching some of it too. It's but she said last night, I think I could deliver a baby now after watching that for, I think we're on season 5. It's an amazing show. It's really a good show. Very well done. There's a lot of babies in there too. So divine presence occupies the here and now. That's because you do. Your divine presence occupies the here and now. If you're not aware of this, become so. And you can do that. We can all do that. So last year, I don't know if you remember, and I do this, I think, as much for me as for you, is the theme was having a mystical experience of God. This year, the theme, based on the book that Melissa held up, what did I do with it? The Presence and Potential happened to come along, which the title of that and what we're doing says that's the theme. That's who we are. That's presence and potential. When we're present, the potential, unlimited, unbounded potential exists. And so before we start this, I thought that it would be good to give you this colloquy about words serve as symbols representing beliefs and thoughts and ideas that we each interpret for ourselves. And so I'm aware that the words can mean different things to each one of you. So I've talked to several of you about the use of the words that we use and the language we use in our talks and services and classes. And throughout my talk, and the number of times, and when Bill and Melissa speak, you'll hear different references, numerous references to God. Sometimes I use other words to describe God, such as God mind. Several of the Unity teachers and leaders use the term one mind or God mind. That's kind of what we're saying in our principles. Or it could be source, infinite one, being, presence, self, higher self, the whole, the universe. Melissa prayed today and she used the word universe, and I got a sense of that. Divine mind, life, spirit, universal intelligence, higher power. A lot of people who are broken use the term higher power until they can find something else about what God really is. And sometimes I may use the term it or energy. In my mind, there is one God. There's one God mind. And, it can mean different things to different people. But that's not all of them. There's others. Atman, Brahma, Allah, Brahma, Allah Balua. I thought about this as I was writing this. We should have played the Daniel Nahman song, There's One Power. He rattles off all those songs. I mean, the Michael Gott song this morning was fantastic. And then I thought about that song that he sings too, so we'll have to play that. The Christ, Buddha nature, the Creator, Jehovah, Allah, Elohim, the Father. And in Old Testament times, they couldn't even say the word. It was just Yahweh is what's attributed to it, but they couldn't even say the word for God. I am. Others may not resonate whatsoever with any, many people may not resonate with any word that I use, that I could choose to use for the word God or source or spirit. And perhaps the G word may make you shut down, may close your mind just because of where you've been. And if so, that's okay. That's okay. This is all about a lesson. I do hope, and it can disconnect you. And hey, I can talk to this because I've been there before. I went into the 12 steps and started using higher power, and learning that I didn't have to close down, but just by using the word God. And again, presence is that what I use for that today. You can disconnect and shut down to anything else that's said or that you read even. So I've used the term beloved. I've heard that used a lot as a reference to God or the divine, and that comes from the Sufism, the beloved. There's a book that's circulating around Unity it's actually by a CSL author, and it's called The Beloved Community, which is what we are, and its reference, its source is from Sufism. So I invite you to open your heart and mind beyond any attachment to the words used, remembering they are symbols, and we give them power. We give them and we interpret them. They don't have any more or less meaning than what we individually choose to assign to them. So what is presence? And as Melissa said, we hear all about it. Every book that I seem like I pick up these days, it's about presence. There's something in it about touching this place where God lives and moves and has being in us, where the source of our being is clearly within. We live from within out. As Eric Butterworth describes us and other teachers, we live from the in out. We live from the center of the circle rather than on the edge as much as we can. Presence is pure consciousness, and there's an urge within our soul, each person's soul, I believe, to become and express more of our essential self, our true self, our presence. So this is not to discount the mind. The mind is a beautiful tool for us. It's unbelievable what we've developed with our mind as a human race. But we've forgotten or never learned how to use the mind, because we can get carried down a rabbit trail, a rabbit hole very, very quickly with the mind. It can take us away where we probably don't really want to go. I wrote on the MailChimp. I didn't send it out till yesterday, so you may not have seen it. I wrote about Hakuna Matata. No worries. No worries. The mind can take us to places where we don't want to go, to anxiety, depression, and it's all done, not always, but it's all done with our thoughts. Our thoughts can worry us to death. And so I was watching The Lion King, or snippets of The Lion King this week with my grandkids, and Hakuna Matata was on, and so it's still in my head. There are no worries. There are no worries. It's a problem-free world. It's a problem-free philosophy is what that means. Another metaphor for this is we talk about the ocean, a metaphor for our lives. If we stay on the surface of the ocean, there's turbulence and chaos, and that's where we live on the outer. But we can go to the depth of the ocean, and there's peace, there's stillness, uniqueness, the beauty of the fish and the reefs, and the awe and wonder of this journey that we're on. So our journey, as far as presence is concerned, is to fall in love with our true self. We've fallen out of love with our true self. Not in an egotistical way or narcissistic way, which we have demonstrated to us frequently. So, but it's to fall in love with your true self. Now you got to get to know that true self before you can fall in love with the true self. Eckhart Tolle says, feeling will get you closer to the truth of who you are than thinking. Again, the mind is a wonderful tool, but we can go off again in weird places with the mind. So feeling, how you're feeling about you, about your true self, will get you closer to that than just thinking about it. Presence and Potential by Martha Creek describes tenets and practices about how to embrace and experience more of your higher self. Experience your higher self and live in wholeness. We had several lessons on that last year through all the Sunday talks and classes. If you don't know Martha, maybe through these teachings you'll go get to know her by going to her website, marthacreek.org. No, it's marthacreek.com, sorry. To learn about her ministry. She says her mission is to serve those who serve. That's her mission, is to serve those who serve. So she has classes and retreats for Unity and CSL and other ministers and leaders, not just ministers, but LUTs in Unity or practitioners in CSL. Her mission is to serve those who serve. And I think all of us serve in some way. You don't have to be ordained or licensed or any of that stuff that we put on ourselves, those titles. And yet the people that are serving, and you guys are serving in whatever capacity you're serving, you have a special place in all of our hearts for, bless you who serve. Bless everyone who serves. And she says in her book, it's for all people who desire to increase their leadership and lower anxiety. No matter where we are, we're leaders, either in our family, with our relationship with children, with kids. So this is about, presence and potential is about leadership skills to know who you truly are. Because as we can better regulate our lives, we must have a clear distinction between facts and feelings and stay empowered in tense situations of any flavor. Now, a little personal note. I've studied with Martha now for 6 years, over 6 years. And if you've listened to her, I know some of you do, if you listen to her, I appreciate her down-home, bottom-line way of being and communicating. We've had her here. It's been a couple years since we've had her here, but she's been here with us. And the tenets of what she proposes in here, in this book, and in her teachings, are not simple. They are simple, but they're not easy. Being open to changing our basic attitudes and how we show up in the world is deep inner work. Changing how we show up in the world. And it's mostly this particular chapter that we're talking about is connecting with others, define yourself and then stay connected with others. It's about removing the knee-jerk responses or reactions to the way we interact with ourselves and each other. So there's an aspect of living in the present moment, and that's defining yourself. That's what we're trying to do, is who is your authentic self? And it's deep, deep inner work. But it's filled with curiosity and wonder at the power we have to create a fuller and satisfying life. We find parallel, you know me, I've talked about I like teachings that we can show parallel authors doing this, teaching the same thing, and there's numerous authors that we run into. Eric Butterworth, for sure, Discover the Power Within You, is all about presence. Ernest Holmes, in his book, This Thing Called You, I read from it every day, and I read to it from you most weeks in meditation. Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now. Brene Brown, who we studied last year, she talks about being your authentic, finding your authentic self. Courage, compassion, and connection. Letting go of what people think and finding that connection, defining your own. So who said this? Can you remember who said that? Are you in there? Are you in there? Are you okay? You remember who said that last year we were talking about? Michael Singer from Living Untethered. Are you okay? Are you in there? You are not your thoughts. According to Michael Singer and his teachings, Living Untethered, you are not your thoughts. You are not your feelings. You are not the outside events in your world outside. You are the observer. You are the eye of your consciousness of those objects. You are the observer. Frank Ostostowski, in 5 Invitations, he told us, don't wait, welcome everything, bring your whole self to the experience, find a place to rest, cultivate don't know mind. Powerful teachings. Richard Rohr told us in What the Mystics Know, enlightenment, the enlightenment you seek, you already are. It already dwells in you. And he said, God is found in imperfection. From great suffering comes great wisdom and joy. Mystical path is a celebration of paradox and uncertainty. Contemplation means practicing heaven right now. To discover the truth, you must become the truth. When you're transformed, others will be transformed through you. We say that every week, don't we? So these teachings all encourage us to know our true self and experience life from a place of higher consciousness. So in my courses and teachings with Martha, one of the teachings that she's has studied her whole life is from the Bowen family systems. Anybody in family therapy or counseling on that would know these. And she talks about, or Bowen talks about self-differentiation. Differentiation of self is a state of psychological maturity, and I say psychological and spiritual maturity, in which an individual able to clearly distinguish between thoughts and feelings while holding on to a sense of self, or identify when in the presence and influence of other people, especially family members. So what that means, self-differentiation, we tend to get drug into what people around us think, and we tend to change our belief or who we are, maybe because we haven't done the work to clearly define who we are or what we feel we are. So I've worked on that with Martha and even another teacher through the ministerial program at Unity Village. Differentiation is hard to explain, but it's easy to understand. I'm not entirely sure it can make sense until you practice it. So, and the reason I think that we struggle a little bit to define ourselves is there's 8 billion people on the planet right now. It's a little over 8 billion people. That's mind-boggling. And yet, every one of us are unique. Now, this is talking about the physical person. We're totally unique in that sense. Every fingerprint, hold up your finger, that fingerprint is unique in the world. In the world on this planet. It's totally unique. Can you imagine? 8 billion people, and that is unique. So if there were 100 people in the room representing these 8 billion people, only 7 would have a college education. Now that's pretty significant because that's up from, that would only be one person not that everybody has to have a college education, but it's an indication of 100 people, that's 1%. So that's a pretty significant thing to realize about people on the planet. There's a whole other group of stats. 25 of the 100 people, if it was represented, would be 0 to 14 years old. 65% or 65 people would be between 15 and 64 years old. 15 and 64. So that's the bulk of the people. people would be 65 and older. So that means 10%. 10%, so that would be 8 million people. Would be, no, excuse me, 80 million people. 80 million. Had my decimal in the wrong place. 31 people out of that 100 would be Christian, 25 would be Muslim, 16 would be religious without any attachment. 15 people would be Hindu, 7 would be Buddhist, 5 would be folk religion, like an indigenous religion. One of those people out of the 100 would be Jewish. 87 of the 100 people would be able to read and write. That's way up over the last few years, way up. But 13 out of that 100, now that's a big percentage, would not be able to read or write. That's the world we live in. That's the world we live in. So and the reason I mention that is because that's the journey we're on. We're on this journey to communicate and stay connected with the people. We're not going to connect with 8 billion of them, but we're connected to the people that are in our lives. And we can only do that when we are self-differentiated from the way we can respond and know ourselves. Be your authentic self and stay connected to the people that you love. What Martha says in this book, and there's some practices that you can do. You don't have to take my word or Martha's word for it. She says to practice it so that you can define yourself and live authentically to who you are. And then you can react and connect with people you love in your life. No matter how much we love people closest to us, there will be times we disagree and argue about something, some heated, some not so heated. In these times, it's best to take a break. They tell us that it takes 20 minutes for the hormones in our body, adrenaline, after you're in a kind of a disagreement with somebody you love. So, and the words that we say in those moments can be hurtful. And it's hard to take them back. So come back after those 20 minutes, take a break, come back after the hormones have settled. And yeah, I heard this, I can't remember the quote from this, but speak when you're angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. Let me say that again. Speak when you're angry and you will make the best speech you will ever regret. Not finding your authentic self is painful. It's painful because you're going to show up in the world, all of us. Doesn't mean we're perfect. Martha even says in her books on this, that being self-differentiated, it's a losing proposition. Keeping the peace is always, always the best path. Giving away self leads to hurts and transgressions. Keeping score and building resentments and all the other things that erode relationship erodes peace in our life. Find, define, and know your authentic self and let others have their own perspective, including political and religious beliefs. Let them be. Let them be. Another chapter in here we'll get into. Cultivate. Frank Oziowski told us that. Cultivate a don't know mind. 3 most powerful words. I don't know. So we can be in relationship with people without having to give up ourselves or to make them wrong. Not easy to do. Simple to say. It takes practice. Practice it. Practice, practice, practice. You know the old adage, practice, practice, practice. What does it make?
Progress, not perfection.
Correct. Practice, practice, practice makes progress. Learn how to define yourself to stay in touch with others. Stay open to what they're thinking, what they're believing, what the basis of their beliefs are, while having a firm foundation of your own beliefs. And the reason that this is occurring is because we all have given up our identity, our self, for various reasons. For me, my personal journey, I grew up in a very racist and fundamental prejudice teachings and belief that didn't resonate with me. Religious teachings that told me I was damaged goods. Teachings of hatred and for those people who are different from us. I lived on the knee of my grandfather, who lived right next door to us. I called him Pop. And while I loved him to death, he went hunting and crappie fishing. It was a great childhood. Yet he was a very hateful. His heart was full of hate, and he expressed that to me over and over and over again, as older people tend to do. And it was about, mostly what he talked about was religion and politics. And if that happened to you, if you grew up in an alcoholic home or with a narcissistic parent, that will affect your self-worth, your self-identity. And this is the work that we do to define our authentic self. For me, the cultural influence of being a white man from the South, not a positive thing. Living in constant disharmony between my mom and Dad as they were getting the divorce and trying to find their own way. Not about blame. This isn't about blame. And then the impact that it had on my sisters and I. So it's these are the influences that affect our self-worth, our self-identification, and these are the things that we get to work on this journey. Again, Michael Singer called it blockages to our true self. You remember the word he used? What is the word he called these blockages to ourselves? Samskaras. The blockage that keeps us from seeing who we truly are. So learn how to define yourself. Stay in touch with others. Stay open to what they're thinking, what they're believing, what the basis of the beliefs are, while having a firm foundation on what your own beliefs are. This is the very last part of what Martha gives us in this chapter. She says, staying open-minded enough to consider I may actually learn something from another person's beliefs. I mean, I've gone through that recently where I didn't believe that until trying to soften those attitudes and views about what to believe, to really be interested in listening to what others are saying. Defining yourself to others and staying connected to others allows you to clarify your beliefs. If we don't do this, we're creating these divides between family members and loved ones that we can never, or may never, can heal. So even have a willingness to change your mind if this new belief is true for you and not simply an emotional reaction to someone else's beliefs. Not easy to do. This is the work we are called to do. Live your life from a place of non-judgment and quiet contentment. Live your life from a place of non-judgment and contentment. So I want to share this prayer with you. If you would, let's close with this prayer. On this day, we join our hearts and minds in prayer. In connecting, we weave a tapestry of diversity worldwide, just as different colors of thread are woven into beautiful quilts, created from hours of love, serenity, and devotion. With this awareness, I understand the multifaceted presence of God. We are like a bouquet of flowers, each with different colors, sizes, types, yet we recognize them all as flowers. We are one people from one source. I invite you to affirm your beauty and magnificence with me in all you see and do. In the stillness of this moment, take a gentle breath and slowly affirm these affirmations in your consciousness. I am like a flower. I am beautiful. I am multidimensional. I am a radiant light. I am a blessing to all. I am celebrating my connection with all there is. Live your life from a place of non-judgment and quiet contentment. Namaste. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Ron. Great job. Okay.